Good morning, beloveds. I follow a Science of Mind minister, which you probably do know who he is, David Bruner. And he's been in my news feeds a lot, and I think partly, here's the deal with Facebook. If you interact with the posts, like them, comment on them, things like that, then they show up in your news feeds more often. That's how those algorithms actually work. So, every time you see those copy and paste things, no, interact with the pages and the people that you want to see. That's how they show up in your news feeds. So it's possible that I just caught one, and he's been doing this for a while, and I caught one and I thought, okay, this is interesting. Let me answer this question. But it's like every day he posts a question up on Facebook, and like hundreds of people answer them. And I don't answer all of them, but I have been answering a fair amount of them because they're interesting and they make me think about it. Well, today's question was, what do you do that's selfish that you're okay with, that you're okay about? And I had to stop and think about that because we tend to forget that there's a difference between selfish and self-care. And basically, and I'm going to try and give you a not a clinical definition, but a quick definition. Selfish is when you are doing something that is denying something to somebody else, without care, maybe. And self-care is when you are doing something to benefit yourself. Now, they're really close because in both cases you are benefiting yourself, but selfish is you can be frequently, it means that you are doing something, and I'm not going to say to hurt somebody, but frequently that's what happens. But you are excluding somebody from something. Eating the last piece of pie when you could easily cut it in half and share with your partner. That would be selfish. But some of the things that I was seeing on there was like, well, I take a shower, an extra long shower. I stay in long past the time I'm clean. And that's self-care. And self-care, and one of the main ways of self-care is the ability to say no. And in that case, you are denying somebody something, and or excluding somebody from something. But in this case, you are doing it to take care of yourself, not to deny somebody something, even if you are. One of the best words for self-care is no. So it was interesting because I had to sit there and think about it, and I had to ask, I asked my husband. I said, and so what I actually did answer was, I leave the Hallmark Channel on all day. And he kind of looked at me and he went, well, that's not necessarily selfish. Partly because we have two TVs, and the other reason is because what he does is, if I have the Hallmark Channel on, he watches podcasts on YouTube. And so he'll put one of his earphones in, and so he's watching his podcast, but if what I'm watching catches his attention, so it's something to think about. There are people who are incredibly selfish, and it is all about them. And then there are other people who think that they are being selfish when they are not actually being selfish. They are being self-caring. So think about that, because I would wager that a lot of you who watch things like this are probably feeling like you're being selfish, and you're not. You're being self-caring. Or you think you're going to do something and you don't do it because you don't want to appear selfish, and it's not selfish. It's actually an act of self-care. And I will reiterate that point, that sometimes the greatest act of self-care that you can make is to say no. All right, that's my soapbox, so I'm going to get off of it now. It was an interesting thought, and when I get out of here, well, my phone's right there, so because that's what I'm using to live stream. I keep a running list called Talk Ideas, and I think that might make a good talk. What's the difference between selfish and self-care, and are you taking care of yourself? As women, I know that we have a particular issue because we're nurturing and all this other stuff. Notice the air quotes. We're nurturing and everything, and so we have a tendency to take care of everybody else, and the last person we take care of is ourselves. Whereas if we wanted to take better care of everybody else, the way to do that is to take care of ourselves first. The analogy is when you're on the airplane and they're talking about the oxygen masks, and they say, put your oxygen mask on first, and then help your neighbor. Because if you pass out, neither one of you gets helped. All right. Again, getting off the soapbox. Today, it is June 21st. It is Father's Day, by the way. So, if you needed that information, there it is. And our title today is I have confidence in my understanding of the law. Okay. Checking to see if my throat's going to cooperate now. I believe that no matter what experience I am going through now, good will come of it. I believe that all poverty will be turned to riches, that all fear will be converted to faith. I believe that good will finally triumph over every evil, and that love will finally heal all hate. I believe that I have a silent partnership with the invisible, that this partnership has never been dissolved and can never be. I believe in the invisible presence of good in a universe peopled with perfect and eternal entities. I believe that all things are possible to him who does believe. I have complete confidence in my knowledge and understanding of the law of good. I not only know what the law is, I know how to use it. I know that I shall obtain definite results through the use of it. I realize that doubts about my ability to use this law are things of thought. What thought has produced, thought can change. Knowing this, having confidence in my ability to use the law and to use it daily for specific purposes, gradually I build up an unshakable faith, both in the law and in the possibility of demonstrating it. There is no doubt in me, no uncertainty rising through me. My mind rejoices in certainty and in assurance. I confidently expect that my word shall not return unto me void. All right, there are two in this reading today. There are two of Ernest's more famous quotes, at least according to Jesse, because he quotes them a lot. What thought has produced, thought can change. And then that last one, I confidently expect that my word shall not return unto me void. Jesse quotes him a lot, and I think I've seen him other places, so it's like, okay, these are two things that Ernest has said that we, as science mind ministers, quote them a lot. Okay, so that first sentence is kind of hard. I believe that no matter what experience I am going through now, good will come of it. Okay, we have a pandemic going on right now, and we have the protests going on right now, and that's hard. Not the protests, because but the pandemic being, what good is coming of this? The protest, absolutely, I definitely see the good coming out of that. But there's a lot of messiness going on around them, that are making people question what the good is that's coming out of this. And that with the pandemic, that okay, what good is coming out of this? And so that first sentence makes you go, oh. To read that right now and to feel that right now and to go, okay, so what good is coming out of that? With the pandemic, it is asking us to be conscientious and compassionate and kind to others. That's the whole thing about why wearing a mask became political. I don't know. But that's what it's about. It's about doing what we can do to protect others. Because the mask isn't about protecting you. The mask is about protecting others. It's asking us to be a little more kind to one another. And again, with the protests, there's a whole segment of our population, a very large segment of our population, that has not been cared for in the way that we as human beings should and can. And so again, that's what we're looking at, that's what the protests are about. The protests are about standing up and saying, hey, we would like to be treated like this. We would like to be treated like everybody else. And we as a people are evolving. The good that will come out of this is that we recognize the oneness, the oneness in the multitude. Okay, moving on. Just that first line was like, okay. I believe that all poverty will be turned into riches, that all fear will be converted to faith. All poverty will be turned into riches. I'm going to point out that sometimes poverty is in the eye of the beholder. Sometimes people have everything that they need, but they're not seeing it. Now, there are a whole lot of people that don't have what they need, and we're working on that. And fear will be converted to faith. And that is one of the things that we are actively working on right now, because when this pandemic started, everybody immediately reacted in fear. And I'm hoping that we are now moving into the faith that we will get through this, and that we will get through this and come out kinder and more compassionate. Faith. I believe that good will finally triumph over every evil, and that love will finally heal all hate. Okay, so I was reading Emma for the class on Saturday, which is from Whence We Came, and Emma says that what evil is absence. It's not a power of itself, but it is the illusion of absence. It's believing that God is not there. So when we get to the place of love for everyone as the love of self, then that can heal all hate, because we recognize the one in the multitude. And when we can see God looking back at us, no matter what and who we are looking at, then evil will have been banished, because evil cannot exist in God. Evil doesn't exist in God. The evil is the absence, the apparent absence of God. Well, I'm just on my soapbox today. I'll get off of it. No, I won't. I believe that I have a silent partner with the invisible, that this partnership has never been dissolved and never can be. So believing that God is always there, believing that you have that partnership, and believing that nothing can touch that partnership, because God is not going to dissolve that partnership. Absolutely not. God is not going to dissolve that partnership. That is not in God's or Spirit's nature, whichever word you want to use. And we cannot dissolve that partnership, but we can create the illusion that we have. I believe in the invisible presence of good in a universe peopled with perfect and eternal entities. A universe peopled with perfect and eternal entities. He didn't say flawless. We are human. We are spirit having a human experience. We are going to make mistakes. But he did say perfect and eternal entities. I believe that all things are possible to him that does believe. How strong is your faith? And what are you believing in? Because sometimes what we actually believe in and what we think we believe in are not the same thing. And it benefits us to go back and look, what do I believe? I.e., my comment about selfish versus self-care. Sometimes we believe that acts that we think are selfish are not actually selfish. They are self-care. All right. I have complete confidence in my knowledge and understanding of the law of good. I not only believe that the law is, I know how to use it. Thought wrapped in feeling. Tell the universe what you want and put the power of your emotions behind it. That is how you use that law. And the law does not judge. So if you ask for it with enough emotion, or you get riled up about something that you don't want and you put enough emotion behind it, the law is going to go, oh, I see a lot of emotion around that. Let me give you that. I know that I shall obtain definite results through the use of it. I realize that doubts about my ability to use this law are things of thought. So the law is your thought. And the doubts about your ability to use it are thoughts. So he says, what thought has produced, thought can change. So if you keep thinking about something and it keeps showing up in your life and it's not what you want, change your thought. Knowing this, having confidence in my ability to use the law and using it daily for specific purposes, I gradually build up an unshakable faith. Okay, did you just hear what he said? Using it daily for specific purpose. That sounded like practice. Practice every single day using this law. Because the more you use it, the more you see the demonstration. And he said specific purpose. That's one of the reasons why we start with parking spaces. The more you use it, the more you see the little demonstrations, the more confidence that you are going to have to tackle the big ones. All right. Gradually, I build up an unshakable faith, both in the law and in the possibility of demonstrating it. Practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect. Practice puts it into, as Jesse likes to say, muscle memory. You're creating those grooves in your brain. So when you are confronted with that big situation, all of a sudden, you can respond to it instead of react to it because you have been practicing. There is no doubt in me, no uncertainty rising through me. My mind rejoices in certainty and in assurance because you have practiced. You have put those grooves into place so that this is your default setting. To turn to the law and say, this is how I would have it be. I confidently expect that my word shall not return unto me void. Practice, practice, practice. Use it for the little things. There's nothing too small for the law. And the more confident you get about using it for the little things, the more you will trust it for the big. All right. Well, we have a live stream coming at you today. It'll be amazing because it's Father's Day, and there's the music is going to be aimed at the father. It's going to be special music for Father's Day, and Jesse's title's about Father's Day. So, and I was going to say, I know it has something to do with mansions. It's like I posted the title yesterday. I don't remember what it is. So please join us at 11 a.m. It will be amazing, as it always is. Reverend Jesse is always on fire. And know that we are doing everything we can to keep in touch with you and keep engaged with you. And Reverend David will be on sometime around 5 today, so you'll make sure to check him out. And I'll be back with you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. All right? We could have pop-up thunder showers today. I kind of want one, just because, I love a good rainstorm and my grass really needs to be watered, but Tom did do that this morning, so we'll see. All right. As I say every day now, do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. Do what you need to do to make it a fantastic day. All right? Open some windows, get some fresh air. I know it's getting too hot to open windows, but get some fresh air, get some movement in, dance, run, walk, whatever that looks like to you. Have a good laugh today. All right? Love you, beloveds.